Welcome to a journey through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, where silence becomes a powerful tool for sharpening intelligence and transforming lives. I'm here to guide you through why the smartest people stay silent. 10 Stoic lessons that boost intelligence. In a world drowning in noise, from endless notifications to constant chatter, the ancient Stoics offer a counterintuitive path to brilliance, the art of silence. Think about the greatest minds in history. Many of them, like the Stoic emperor Lucius Maro, chose quiet reflection over empty words, finding clarity in stillness. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll explore 10 profound lessons inspired by Stoic thinkers like Gaius Calvus and Thales of Nicopolis. These lessons aren't just ancient relics, they're practical tools for navigating our modern chaos. Whether it's learning to speak with purpose or mastering the balance of listening, each insight will show you how restraint and thoughtfulness can elevate your mind and influence. Let's uncover how silence, far from being passive, can be your greatest strength in cultivating true wisdom. Together, we'll see how adopting these principles can reshape the way we think, connect, and live in today's fast-paced world. So let's dive into the first step of this enlightening path, starting with why silence matters now more than ever. Did you know that the wisest minds in history often chose silence over speech? I've pondered this truth through the lens of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us to harness the power of quiet reflection for unmatched clarity. From the ancient Roman emperors to the thinkers of old, those who mastered silence often held the sharpest intellects. Today, I invite you to uncover 10 powerful Stoic lessons that can sharpen your intelligence and transform your life. These timeless teachings reveal how stepping back from the noise can amplify your thoughts, refine your words, and elevate your presence in a world obsessed with endless chatter. Join me on this journey to discover how silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's the birthplace of wisdom. Let's explore how these ancient principles can guide us to think deeper and live better, starting now as we step into the heart of our journey. Let's confront a reality that many of us face in this modern age. The world around us is deafening. Every day, we're bombarded by the relentless noise of social media, where opinions clash like thunderstorms, and endless chatter fills every silent corner of our minds. Scroll through any platform, and you're met with a cascade of voices, some angry, some desperate to be heard, most saying little of real value. This constant din drowns out wisdom, reducing the weight of our words to mere whispers lost in the storm. We speak, but are we truly heard? Or are we just adding to the chaos? In this frenzy, it's easy to lose sight of what matters. Our thoughts become scattered, and our ability to think deeply is eroded by the pressure to respond instantly, to always have something to say. But what if the path to true intelligence lies not in speaking more, but in mastering the art of silence? Let's turn to the ancient Stoics for guidance. I've often reflected on the teachings of a wise figure, Gaius Calvus, whose words cut through the noise of his time like a blade. He believed that intelligence isn't about the quantity of our words, but their quality, or the choice to withhold them entirely. To him, every unnecessary word was a missed opportunity to listen, to learn, to grow. In a world obsessed with being loud, his teachings remind us that true power lies in restraint. Imagine the Roman forums of old, filled with shouting senators, much like our digital spaces today. Gaius Calvus would stand apart, observing, choosing his moments with care. His silence spoke louder than any speech. So here's the challenge before us. In a culture that equates volume with value, how can we reclaim the Stoic art of silence? How can we step back from the urge to be heard at every turn and instead cultivate a mind that is sharp, focused, and truly influential? It's not easy to resist the pull of constant expression, to go against the tide of endless posts and instant replies. Yet, I've seen in my own reflections how stepping back can sharpen clarity. The Stoics knew that silence isn't weakness, it's a weapon of the wise. They understood that to speak with impact, we must first master the art of holding back, of letting our thoughts ripen before they're shared. This challenge isn't just about quieting our voices. It's about quieting our minds. It's about sifting through the noise to find what's worth saying and having the courage to let the rest fall away. Can we, in this age of distraction, adopt this ancient wisdom? Can we learn to value depth over immediacy, to let silence be our teacher? As we ponder this, let's consider how stepping away from the clamor might transform not just how we communicate, but how we think, how we connect, and ultimately, how we wield influence in a world that so desperately needs voices of reason. The Stoic path isn't one of passivity, it's one of deliberate choice. And that choice begins now with a single quiet breath. In today's world, we are bombarded by an endless stream of noise, a cacophony of notifications, social media posts, and unrelenting opinions that flood our minds every waking moment. Platforms designed to connect us often leave us drowning in trivial arguments and shallow chatter. Scrolling through feeds that prioritize outrage over insight and instant reactions over thoughtful reflection. I observe how this constant clamor pulls us away from deeper understanding, as if silence itself has become a rare and forgotten art. Wisdom, once nurtured in quiet contemplation, is now suffocated by the need to be heard, to comment, to post, to react. Our words, thrown into the void without care, lose their weight, their meaning diminished in a sea of endless noise. I see how this affects us all, diluting the power of what we say and making it harder to discern what truly matters. How often do we stop to ask, amidst this storm of sound, where is the space for clarity, for real intelligence to emerge? It feels as though we've forgotten that true insight often begins not with speaking, but with listening to the world, to others, and to ourselves. This overwhelming noise isn't just a distraction. It's a barrier to the very wisdom we seek, a barrier that the ancient Stoics, in their timeless clarity, recognized and sought to overcome. As I reflect on the chaos of today's world, drowning in endless noise and fleeting opinions, I find myself drawn to the timeless wisdom of the ancient Stoics, a philosophy that cuts through the clamor with clarity. One of their greatest teachers, whom we'll call Gaius Calvus, believed that true intelligence isn't measured by how much we speak, but by how well we choose our words, or whether we choose to speak at all. Gaius taught that every word should carry weight, born from thought and purpose, not from impulse or the need to fill silence. He often reminded his students that a mind preoccupied with chatter, whether their own or others, loses its sharpness, its ability to discern what truly matters. Instead, he urged a disciplined restraint, suggesting that we observe more, listen deeply, and speak only when our words can add value or insight. This wasn't about silence for the sake of withdrawal, but about cultivating a presence so powerful that when we do speak, our words resonate. Imagine a world where every conversation was shaped by such intention, where intelligence wasn't loud, but profound. The Stoics showed us that mastery over speech, often through silence, is mastery over the mind itself. As I reflect on the teachings of Gaius Calvus, I'm struck by how timeless his wisdom is. He taught us that true intelligence lies not in the volume of our words, but in their weight and purpose. Yet here we are, in a world obsessed with being heard, drowning in a sea of endless chatter and fleeting opinions. Everywhere I look, people are speaking to be noticed, not to be understood. Social media amplifies every thought, no matter how trivial, and the pressure to respond instantly often robs us of depth. How then can we reclaim the stillness that sharpens the mind? How can we, amidst this clamor, adopt the Stoic art of silence to cultivate not just smarter thoughts, but greater influence? I believe the answer lies in turning inward, in embracing the discipline of restraint that the Stoics so revered. It's a challenge, no doubt, to resist the urge to react, to speak only when our words carry true value. But imagine the power in mastering this art, to stand out not by shouting, but by the quiet force of wisdom. Let's explore how the Stoics guide us on this path, offering lessons that transform noise into clarity and fleeting words into lasting impact. Let us dive deeper into the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and uncover how the art of silence and purposeful speech can elevate our intelligence. I often wonder how the ancients navigated their chaotic worlds with such clarity, and through their teachings, I find answers that resonate even in our modern frenzy. Let's explore 8 powerful Stoic lessons that build on the challenge of adopting silence in a world obsessed with being heard. First, Consider the power of silence in a noisy world. The Stoic thinker Thales of Nicopolis taught that silence is not emptiness. It is a space for observation and profound understanding. By stepping back from the clamor, we allow ourselves to see patterns others miss. I recall a story of a Stoic senator in ancient Rome. Amidst a fiery debate in the forum, chose to remain silent. While others shouted over one another, his quiet presence commanded attention. When he finally spoke, his words carried the weight of deliberate thought, earning him respect where others faltered. Silence, as the Stoics saw it, sharpens the mind like a blade. Next, let us turn to speaking with purpose. Stoics believed that every word must serve a clear intention, free from idle chatter that dims our credibility. How often do we speak just to fill a void? I've observed that meaningless words dilute the impact of meaningful ones. A practical tip from Stoic wisdom is to pause before speaking. Ask yourself, does this contribute value? This simple habit can transform how others perceive our intelligence. Now, let's reflect on balancing speech and silence. The Stoics valued equilibrium, knowing when to speak and when to listen. I find inspiration in a tale of Lucius Maro, the great emperor who once faced a heated conflict in his court. Instead of reacting with haste, he retreated into silence, allowing tempers to cool. His restraint not only diffused tension, but also positioned him as a pillar of wisdom. In our daily lives, could we not achieve the same by listening twice as much as we speak? Integrity in speech is another cornerstone of Stoic thought. Gaius Calvus urged that our words must align with our beliefs, for authenticity is the root of trust. I've seen how hollow promises erode respect, while honest speech builds it. A daily practice of introspection, asking, "Do my words reflect who I am?" can anchor us in this virtue. It's a quiet discipline, but one that speaks volumes. Let's also consider the virtue of concise speech. Stoics prized brevity, speaking only what was necessary. I've noticed how rambling often buries insight, while a few well-chosen words cut through the noise. Conciseness not only sharpens our thoughts, but also respects others' time, a subtle yet powerful act of consideration. Reflective speech follows naturally. Stoics advocated thinking twice before speaking to avoid misunderstandings. I think of a modern scenario in a workplace where a hasty comment during a meeting sparked unnecessary conflict. Had the speaker paused to reflect, the outcome might have been harmony instead of discord. This habit of reflection turns speech into a tool of clarity. Non-reactive communication is equally vital. The Stoics practiced staying calm in heated moments, avoiding impulsive words that we later regret. I've seen arguments escalate simply because someone spoke from anger rather than reason. A Stoic tip is to pause during emotional conversations. Breathe and let logic guide your response. This restraint can turn potential conflict into understanding. Finally, let's explore constructive communication. Stoics used speech to unite and heal, not merely to express. I imagine a family setting where a parent offers constructive feedback to a child, focusing on growth rather than criticism. Instead of wounding, their words build bridges. We too can wield speech as a tool for good, choosing to uplift rather than divide. These lessons, collectively, remind us that silence and wise speech are not mere tactics. They are pathways to deeper intelligence and influence. Let's begin our journey into Stoic wisdom with a profound lesson: the power of silence in a world that never stops talking. The Stoics, particularly a wise teacher I call Thales of Nicopolis, believed that silence is not merely the absence of sound, but a gateway to deeper understanding. Thales taught that when we quiet our tongues, we open our minds to observation, to truly seeing the world as it is, not as we wish it to be. In a noisy society, whether it's the clamor of ancient forums or the endless scroll of today's social feeds, silence becomes a rare and powerful tool. It allows us to step back, to process, and to discern what truly matters before we dare to speak. Consider a story from antiquity about a Stoic senator in the heart of a heated Roman debate. While others shouted over each other, desperate to be heard, this senator remained silent. He listened intently, his stillness commanding the room. When the chaos subsided, all eyes turned to him, eager for his insight. His silence had not diminished his presence. It had amplified it. This, my friends, is the Stoic way to understand that true intelligence often lies not in the rush to speak, but in the patience to observe and to wait. In our modern rush to respond, to post, to react, we forget this. But imagine if we embraced silence, even for a moment longer. What clarity might we gain? What wisdom might we uncover when we stop drowning in our own noise? This lesson from Thales of Nicopolis reminds us that silence is not weakness, it is strength. It is the foundation of thought, the space where true intelligence is born. As we move forward, let's hold this truth close and learn to wield silence as the powerful tool it is. Let's turn to the second Stoic lesson that can sharpen our intelligence: speaking with purpose. As I reflect on the teachings of the ancient Stoics, I'm struck by their unwavering belief that every word we utter must carry intention. Idle talk, gossip, or speaking just to fill the silence was seen as a waste of energy and a distraction from wisdom. Gaius Calvus, the Stoic sage often attributed to Seneca, once said that our words should serve a higher purpose, whether to teach, to comfort, or to clarify. They believed that careless speech not only diminishes our credibility, but also clouds our own minds, pulling us away from the clarity we seek. Imagine a conversation where every word is chosen with care, carrying weight and meaning. That's the Stoic ideal. In contrast, how often do we speak without thinking, adding noise to an already chaotic world? I've noticed in my own life how easy it is to ramble, to say things that don't truly matter. But the Stoics challenge us to be different. So here's a practical tip I found invaluable. Before speaking, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what is my purpose in saying this? Does it add value, or is it just empty chatter? This simple act of reflection can transform the way we communicate. It's not about speaking less, but speaking better. When we align our words with intention, we not only honor the Stoic principle of discipline, but also cultivate a sharper, more focused mind. People begin to listen when they know our words are deliberate. As I've practiced this, I've seen how even a slight hesitation before responding can shift the tone of a conversation, making my thoughts clearer and my impact stronger. Let this be a step toward intelligence, not through endless talking, but through meaningful speech. As we reflect on speaking with purpose, let's turn to another profound Stoic lesson: the art of balancing speech and silence. The ancient Stoics believed that true wisdom lies not just in knowing when to speak, but also when to remain silent. They saw silence as a powerful tool for listening, understanding, and maintaining inner calm, a discipline that sharpens both mind and character. Imagine a conversation where every word is weighed, yet every pause carries equal depth. This balance was central to Stoic thought, a way to ensure that communication serves harmony rather than discord. Consider the story of Lucius Maro, the great emperor and Stoic thinker. Once, during a tense council meeting, advisors clashed over matters of war and peace, their voices rising in anger. Lucius Maro, however, sat silent amidst the chaos, observing, reflecting. When the room fell quiet, exhausted by argument, only then did he speak. His words few, but heavy with insight, instantly calming the storm. His silence had disarmed the conflict. Before his speech, we built trust. This wasn't mere restraint. It was strategy, a reminder that listening often speaks louder than words. In our own lives, we can emulate this balance. How often do we rush to respond, missing the chance to truly hear others? The Stoics teach us to pause, to let silence create space for clarity. By listening first, we honor the perspectives around us and ensure our words, when they come, carry real weight. This balance isn't about suppression, it's about mastery. As we move to explore integrity in speech next, let's remember that knowing when to be silent is just as vital as knowing what to say. As I reflect on the teachings of Stoicism, one principle stands out with clarity: integrity in speech. Gaius Calvus, a wise Stoic thinker, often taught that our words must mirror our deepest beliefs. To speak with authenticity is not just about honesty with others, but honesty with ourselves. What value do our words hold if they do not reflect who we truly are? In ancient times, the Stoics' credibility rested on this alignment. Words were a window to character. Calvus urged his followers to guard their speech as they would their honor, for a single careless word could unravel a lifetime of trust. Imagine speaking something you don't truly mean. Doesn't it leave a hollow ache within? This is why integrity matters. It's the foundation of influence and respect. So, how do we cultivate this in our noisy, modern lives? I've found that daily introspection works wonders. Before speaking, pause. Ask yourself, do these words align with my values? Am I speaking to impress or to express what I truly believe? Such reflection transforms speech into a deliberate act, not a fleeting reaction. Over time, this practice builds a reputation of authenticity. People listen when they know your words carry weight. This isn't just about avoiding lies. It's about ensuring every word you utter is a true reflection of your inner self. As we move forward, let's consider how this integrity can pave the way for communication that doesn't just speak, but heals and unites. As I reflect on the teachings of the ancient Stoics, I'm struck by their profound understanding of speech as a tool, not just for expression, but for unity and healing. They believed that words carry a weight beyond mere sound. They can mend relationships, build trust, and inspire growth when used with care. Unlike the idle chatter that often fills our days, the Stoics urged us to speak with the intention of creating something better, to construct rather than destroy. Imagine for a moment a family gathered around a dinner table. Tensions simmer as a young adult feels unheard, their dreams dismissed as impractical. Instead of criticism or silence, a parent chooses a stoic approach. They speak gently, acknowledging the passion behind the dream, offering guidance without judgment. I see how much this means to you, they might say, and I want to help you find a way to make it real. This isn't just feedback, it's a bridge, built with words meant to heal. The Stoics understood that constructive communication turns conflict into connection. It's a skill that elevates us, making our intelligence not just sharp, but compassionate. So let's ask ourselves, how can our words today build rather than break? How can we use speech to unite those around us? As we build on the Stoic practice of using speech to unite and heal, let's delve deeper into the heart of their wisdom, a culmination of lessons that reveal how silence and mindful communication can elevate not just our words, but our very intelligence. Let's explore Lesson 9, Empathetic Speech. The Stoics understood that true wisdom lies not in dominating a conversation, but in understanding the person behind the words. I recall a story of Thales of Nicopolis, a thinker renowned for his composure. In a heated dispute between two rival factions, he chose not to lecture or argue. Instead, he listened. He let each side pour out their grievances, observing their pain and fear beneath the anger. Only then did he speak, with words that acknowledged their struggles and offered a path forward. His empathy turned enemies into allies. This teaches us that listening, truly listening, builds emotional intelligence, a form of wisdom far surpassing mere intellect. It connects us to others on a profound level. Now, let's turn to Lesson 10, Assertive yet respectful speech. The Stoics mastered the art of standing firm in their beliefs while never belittling others. Imagine a modern-day debate at a community meeting. Tempers flare over a divisive issue. One individual, inspired by Stoic principles, speaks with clarity and conviction, stating their view without mockery or disdain. Their tone remains steady, their words measured. The room, initially tense, softens as others feel respected despite the disagreement. This balance of assertiveness and respect, a hallmark of Stoic communication, shows us how to navigate tough conversations with grace. It's not about winning an argument. It's about preserving dignity for ourselves and others. Finally, let's tie these lessons to a timeless Stoic truth. Silence and wise speech are more than mere tools of rhetoric. They are gateways to profound intelligence and influence, no matter the era. The Stoics knew that a mind sharpened by restraint, empathy, and purpose doesn't just speak, it resonates. Whether in ancient Rome or our bustling digital age, these principles remind us that true power lies not in the volume of our words, but in their weight. When we master silence and speech, we don't just communicate better, we think better, connect better, and ultimately live better. So pause for a moment, reflect on how your words or your silence can shape the world around you. Let's turn to a profound Stoic lesson, the art of empathetic speech. As a philosophy rooted in understanding human nature, Stoicism teaches us that true wisdom lies not just in what we say, but in how deeply we connect with others. Empathy, the ability to step into another's perspective, was central to the Stoic way of communication. Imagine Thales of Nicopolis, a wise Stoic teacher, standing in a bustling marketplace long ago. Two merchants were locked in a bitter dispute, their voices rising with anger over a petty misunderstanding. Instead of intervening with a quick judgment, Thales chose to listen intently. He let each man pour out his frustrations, nodding silently, showing he understood their pain. Only then did he speak, gently guiding them to see the other side. His words, infused with empathy, dissolved their conflict like dawn-melting frost. This wasn't just about resolving a disagreement. It was about recognizing shared humanity, a lesson that echoes through time. In Stoic thought, empathy isn't a weakness. It's a strength that sharpens emotional intelligence. When we listen to understand, not to reply, we build trust and insight. In our modern rush to be heard, how often do we truly hear? Empathy transforms our words into bridges, not barriers, allowing us to connect on a deeper level. As we move to the final lesson, let's remember, intelligence isn't just in speaking, but in feeling with others. This Stoic principle can elevate not just our conversations, but our entire approach to life. As we build on the Stoic art of empathetic communication from our previous lesson, let us now uncover the mastery of speaking assertively while maintaining respect, a cornerstone of Stoic wisdom. I've often reflected on how the ancient Stoics, like Lucius Maro, navigated the weightiest of discussions with a calm yet firm presence. They understood that true intelligence lies not in dominating a conversation, but in expressing your truth with clarity and respect for others. Perspectives. Imagine a modern-day debate at a workplace or community meeting where opinions clash and tensions rise. One individual, inspired by Stoic principles, chooses to speak with composure. They state their position confidently, without belittling others, acknowledging differing views with a simple, "I see your point, and here's my perspective." This isn't weakness, it's strength, rooted in self-control. Stoics taught that assertiveness doesn't need aggression. It's about standing your ground while honoring the dignity of those around you. When you speak this way, your words carry weight, not because they're loud, but because they're measured and sincere. Consider practicing this in your next tough conversation. Assert your thoughts, but leave space for dialogue. This balance transforms conflict into understanding, a hallmark of Stoic intelligence that resonates even today. As I reflect on these lessons of assertive yet respectful speech and empathetic communication, I'm struck by a profound realization drawn from the heart of Stoic philosophy. Silence and wise speech are not mere techniques or habits we adopt for convenience. They are far more than that. They are pathways, time-tested routes to profound intelligence and enduring influence, no matter the era we live in. Think about it. In a world that often rewards the loudest voices, the Stoics remind us that true power lies in restraint, in choosing when to speak, and in ensuring our words carry weight and purpose. Imagine the clarity of mind that comes from silencing the unnecessary, the strength that builds when we speak only to uplift or enlighten. This isn't just about communication. It's about shaping how we think, how we connect, and how we lead. The Stoics, like Lucius Maro and Gaius Calvus, mastered this art centuries ago, yet their wisdom resonates today by embracing silence and intentional speech. We don't just become better conversationalists. We become sharper thinkers, more empathetic souls, and forces of calm in a chaotic world. So let this truth sink in. Intelligence isn't loud, it's deliberate. And influence isn't forced, it's earned through the quiet strength of wisdom. As I reflect on these 10 Stoic lessons, I'm struck by their timeless power. How silence, purposeful speech, empathy, and composure can not only transform the way we communicate, but also deepen how we think and connect with others in this chaotic world. These aren't mere tactics. They are pathways to true intelligence and influence, just as they were for the great Stoic minds of antiquity. Imagine adopting just one of these lessons today, perhaps pausing before reacting in a heated moment, and noticing the difference it makes in your clarity and relationships. So which of these Stoic lessons resonated with you the most? Was it the power of silence, the art of speaking with purpose, or perhaps the strength of empathetic communication? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share them with me below. And if you found value in these insights, consider subscribing for more lessons on wisdom and personal growth. Let's walk this journey of self-mastery together. Thank you for listening.